guys, and welcome! This time it will be all about Mercury's new set, Glittering Era. Maybe you noticed the change in format here. I can't deny that I want to give the lore part more attention, so I'm slowly adapting. Oh, and don't forget to check the timestamps, as usual. It's needless to say how I absolutely adore this set, and how excited I was to pull for it. Not just because it's Mercury, but like the style, the vibe, I love it all. Oh, and also it's the first event ever where I pulled solely on gems. It hurts! Oh, and that hair is absolutely gorgeous too. I'm also a big fan of how they mix the 20s style for the dress with a more modern design for the extravagant coat. The result is amazing for a Mercury outfit. And of course I got his reflection too, thank god. I was definitely way unluckier than most. I kept seeing all these posts with 4 echoes in one go, and I'm still jelly. I did finish the pavilion though in 101 pulls, so I won't complain that much. And I even managed to awaken him without wailing at all. A true achievement. Now, let's move on first to the event story. In London, the Apple Federation International Film Festival is taking place. Although fans come to see all kinds of stars, the Mercury era celebrities enjoy the greatest popularity during the event, including the CEO, Mercury himself. Nikki and Momo go grab some bubble tea before heading over to the festival and run into Buzz. They learn from him that while the studios have access to a huge budget for anything thanks to the Mercury group, it allows the CEO to use his influence freely on the festival. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. As Bass wants to attend one of the many masterclasses being held at the festival, he gifts them tickets for a screening of Fantasy Night, an iconic movie. On their way to the theater, Nikki and Momo pass a crowd of screaming girls. They've just caught a glimpse of Mercury and already look like their whole year has been made. Despite it being an old film, the audience still gasps when the actress appears in her dazzling dress. For the occasion, all outfits and props from the film are put on display for the first time, including Mercury's design, and a modern remake was made for fans to try on. Sadly, the excitement of the whole event is bringing the worst in people, and the poor girl struggling with the zipper gets insulted and shamed for her bigger size by others waiting in line, explicitly saying how fashion isn't meant for fat people. And I heard quite a lot of feedback about this scene actually from fellow players, so we will talk about it later on. Fortunately, Serena appears to put the rude fans in their place and kindly reassures the girl together with Nikki. Beauty comes in many forms, they say, and what matters most is having faith in yourself. Nikki and Momo discover that Serena left the modeling world to become an actress and even got nominated for the awards. But she doesn't get her hopes up, as she only recently signed with Mercury Era. Speaking of which, here comes Vulture. Of course, he manages contracts for Mercury Era on top of his work for the Mercury group. Seeing their shocked faces, Serena is surprised they all know each other, and Vulture tries to pass his terrorist train attack as a misunderstanding. While still staying cautious, Nikki relaxes a bit. Today he's looking harmless and pretty encouraging and caring towards Serena. They will meet again with her at the red carpet. Momo is tracking the awards votes in real time, and the competition is fierce between the high-ranking nominees. Even Lolori managed to gather a considerable amount of votes despite an encoding error. Fan screams and shattering cameras follow the stunning celebrities on the carpet. All actors are from Mercury Era and Nikki and Momo spot Serena, then Dorothy too. Suddenly, the crowd's cheers and screams get significantly louder. Mercury just appeared on the carpet and photographers quickly swarm around him trying to grab the best shot of his beautiful figure. The closing ceremony will soon begin and the hall is already packed. Then, Nikki spots Vulture in a corner, talking into a radio. Quite suspicious, but he leaves in a hurry and she loses sight of him. Nikki and Momo are wandering through the corridors after a quick break, when they see a half-closed door. Intrigued, they get closer and hear Mercury and Vulture. But they're just discussing the awards results. Wait, no, more than this. Vulture sees Serena as a good choice, but Mercury interrupts him. He will be satisfied as long as the winner comes from Mercury Era. Without a word, Nikki and Momo slip away as quickly as they can and return to the hall. What could Mercury possibly have in mind this time? Thunder's applause snapped Nikki out of her thoughts. The results are being announced. On stage, Mercury himself reveals the winner of the Best New Actress award. It's Serena! Overjoyed, she joins him on stage to accept the trophy amid the cheering crowd. she has achieved her dream. When Serena hurries over to Nikki and Momo to share her achievement, you are presented with a choice. Either you let her be blissfully unaware of Mercury's scheme, or you tell her all of what you've heard. With the second option, Serena isn't surprised in the slightest. After all, it is known that the CEO is very powerful. But she is still happy and honored to have been chosen. No matter the circumstances, she's determined to do her best with the opportunity that was given to her. And on this hopeful note, the festival ends. Now, I saw quite a few reactions from fellow players about the dress-fitting scene, calling it insensitive and hurtful, and rightfully so. I have to say it succeeded at reflecting real life. But is it really necessary in a game? I don't know. Some said no. I do wonder how else they could have conveyed the same message, because we're still in a situation where beauty is used to make money. It becomes a product. But despite the accuracy, I find Paper's way to convey it all kinda lazy, because it's just an excuse to show Serena's and Nikki's view on beauty here. And Paper wouldn't seem so hypocritical if we actually got characters and NPCs who showed this diversity of beauty. No offense to the mayor and fish t-shirt guy, of course, but they can't carry that representation on their own, right? But it's not all that bad. The redeeming element, I think, is Serena. I don't know if anyone didn't take her encouragement seriously, because yeah, she's tall, slender, and pretty. But we already met her in Halsey's reflection under a very different light. There, we see her debut as a model, as well as her struggle with anorexia and, thankfully, her recovery. So seeing her so confident and strong now is some great development. And what did you think reading through the event? Did you enjoy it? Feel free to leave some thoughts about what we just discussed in the comments, because now we'll be moving on to the reflection of Glittering Era. Mercury is in a factory of dreams, or just the Flying Star Entertainment Studios. They had sent a bidding invitation to the Mercury Group, so he personally came to inspect the place and meet with the manager. Even though Flying Star was a new company, it already had great potential and big projects, like a new studio in Loudon. On a set, Mercury met the pale Mr. Sean, but his state didn't prevent him from living his passion. This gifted director was destined to create masterpieces. Mercury seemed interested. He accepted to support Flying Star's project. In the modest office, Mercury's desk was covered in mining industry files and mountain veins reports, but he was actually studying gossipy headlines about his recent investment. Most were openly mocking his decision. He wasn't bothered at all. Mercury Mining Corp was quickly expanding, but he needed a bigger revenue. The budding cultural industry in the Pigeon Colony was the best opportunity he could seize. He knows art is built upon money, and it will produce money in return. He went to the city hall with a proposal for a movie festival, but was met with quite some reluctance from the Elven official. After all, King August only supported traditional, noble arts. Without losing his composure, Mercury assured him that all costs will be covered by his group. And, just like that, his request was swiftly approved. Art is indeed built upon money. The headlines were now singing the praises of the new Loudon Film Festival. It still needed a big hit, as the growing number of participants didn't make the true quality of the event. Mr. Sean, paler than ever, had submitted an excellent movie pitch, but in his idealistic naivety, he couldn't understand that a great film wasn't guaranteed success. Only Mercury absolutely needed this film to be successful. It was a hit. Newspapers praised Fantasy Night on and on. It was a beautiful and thought-provoking tale about two young women from different backgrounds and with conflicting values. After an accidental encounter, they'll have to learn working together and will both grow from this adventure. But all this good story paled in comparison with the breathtaking gown Mercury had designed. He took it upon himself to create a catalyst for this whole masterpiece. It worked! Even months later, the crowd still gasped at the sight of the stunning actress at the festival. And Mr. Sean was acclaimed as an incomparable genius of his time. He had sadly succumbed to his illness some time ago, but his memory and his art will forever live on through his work. The entertainment industry thrived in Apple, and the gossip magazines got replaced with real estate reports on Mercury's desk. Although movies never managed to hold his attention for a long time, he eventually sat down to watch Fantasy Night. It may be a work of fiction, but the issues and emotions it contains last forever in people's hearts. In Pigeon, art had always been reserved for the elite, but countless commoners were eager to enjoy it too. Moreover, it could be a convenient tool to introduce foreign concepts into the most conservative nations. Speaking of which, Fantasy Night was being shown in Pigeon Kingdom's biggest theater after a memorial ceremony. It still had the same effect on the audience. A noble lady shared with Mercury her desire to see more Apple movies, but promptly hid behind her fan, giggling. Having the same interests as commoners would have been unacceptable 60 years ago. Compared to elves, humans quickly change the world they live in. Nations are influencing each other's cultures, and common trends are slowly remodeling governments. Soon, the seeds Mercury had planted will pierce through the kingdom's stifling restrictions. And, smiling softly, he adds, "This is just the trailer for the final installment of this revenge-filled saga." Gosh, that last line, it's promising, right? I love seeing Mercury's talent for long-term schemes. He puts his elven longevity to perfect use, along with his amazing understanding of human society, of course. It's all so perfect. I found some interesting data in his profile too, let's check it out. How surprising, August being salty even towards culture. If you check my video about Hestia, you'll see how she was the one who shared her technological knowledge with Apple, making all this progress possible. And obviously, he put all his hopes of conservatism into Ophelia, who excels in the traditional arts he loves so dearly. Then, we have Mercury's black cat. During the story, he only let him play with a torn bit of newspaper, so nothing too big. But I still want to point out how inspired Mercury is by its behavior, and how alike they are in general. Besides the paparazzi incident, we get this voice line too.
Cats are smarter than humans. They always sit there quietly, witnessing everything from the beginning to the end.
And I suppose you've guessed who the noodle hair guy is, so I have another voice line for you.
Vulture might not be talented, but our business needs employees like him.
Is it sad? Yeah. Will it sink my ship? Never. See, this post here is all the proof I need. Well, and that's it for this event. We went through quite a few interesting themes and topics here, so feel free to share your own thoughts in the comments. And if you like this video, you can leave a like, subscribe, share, and so on. It's always greatly appreciated. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye!